Hello, this is Hana Harmony, the last Bible bed story or daytime story. So a mean man, you remember the mean man, the Acts chapter 9, 1 through 4, there was a mean man chasing after Jesus' followers. His name was Saul. He was sure that everything he heard about Jesus was wrong. He didn't believe any of it. He was sure he was right. So he hurt and even killed people who believed in Jesus. So where God wanted Saul to work, yes, for him, to work for him. So one day when Saul was on a journey, God sent a bright flash of light. It was so bright. Saul fell to the ground. Why do you think God wanted Saul to work for him? Yes, let's go. The Saul is blinded. Acts chapter 9, 4 through 9. Saul, why are you doing things against me? A voice said from inside the light, "Who are you? Who are you?" And asked Saul, "I am Jesus. Now get up and go into the city." When Saul stood up, he was blind. His friends had to lead him into the city. Saul wouldn't eat or drink anything for 3 days. What will happen to poor blind Saul? Yes, Saul. Do you think he is ready to listen to God? Yeah. Let's go. Ananias helped Saul. Saul. Yeah. The Acts chapter 9, 10 through 18, 13 through 13, chapter 13, 9. God sent a man named Ananias to find Saul and pray for him so that Saul could see again. Ananias was scared of Saul, but Ananias believed in Jesus and went anyway. Ananias prayed for Saul, and Saul's sight came back. On that day, God changed Saul's heart to make him kind to those who believed in Jesus. Saul was so called Paul. Soon Paul began to tell others about Jesus too. Did you know that Paul became one of the greatest preachers who ever lived? Yeah. Let's go. Peter in jail. Acts chapter 12, 1 through 18. One day, mean King Herod threw Peter, one of Jesus' followers, in jail. The king had 2 soldiers guard Peter so he couldn't get away. That night, an angel came into Peter's cell. "Hurry, get up," the angel said, "follow me." Peter thought he must be dreaming, but he wasn't. The chains fell off his hands, and the angel led him past. The guards, when they came to the iron gate of the prison, it swung open on its own, and Peter was free. So God is always stronger than anything that can happen to us. We have to trust that He will always do what's best for us. The woman who sold purple clothes, there are purple clothes, Acts chapter 16, 12 through 15. After Paul became a follower of Jesus, he went everywhere teaching people about Jesus. Many times there was no building where he could meet with friends. One day, he and his friends were looking for a place to meet by the river when they saw a group of women. One woman was Lydia. Her job was selling purple clothes. She loved God but didn't know about Jesus. Paul told her all about Jesus, and Lydia believed that Jesus was God's son. Lydia invited Paul and his friends to stay at her house. Some of your friends probably want to know Jesus. They are just waiting for someone to tell them about him. You could be the one who tells them. Yeah, you could be and be. So help us. So earthquake. Acts chapter 16, verse 16 through 36. Some people didn't like what Paul was preaching about Jesus. So they caught Paul and his helper, Silas, and threw them in jail. The two men were beaten and their feet were fastened tightly so they couldn't run away. That night, instead of complaining or crying, Paul and Silas prayed and sang songs to God. Suddenly there was an earthquake and jail doors popped open. The jailer thought his prisoners had escaped. He knew if the prisoners had escaped, he would be in big trouble. Paul called to him, "We are all here." When the jailer came to them, he asked, "What must I do to be saved?" Paul told him all about Jesus. If you had been beaten, thrown in jail, and had your feet pinned down, what would you be doing? What would you be doing if you were just thrown in jail? Some people laugh at Paul. Acts chapter 17, 16 through 34. Paul traveled to Athens in Greece to tell people about Jesus. In Athens, Paul saw an altar with writing that said, to a God who is not known. Paul began to preach. He told the people about the God who made the whole world. Paul said that God doesn't live in temples that men build, but in their hearts. He told them about Jesus coming back to life after being dead. Some of the people laughed at Paul, but some of the people believed in Jesus. God wants all of us to tell others the good news that Jesus is alive. Some people will believe and some will laugh. We must pray for all of them. Yeah, we have to pray for all of them who don't know of God, or rising God. Shipwrecked. Yeah, shipwrecked. Acts chapter 27. Paul got on a big ship. He was going to the city of Rome. The ship went very slowly because of strong winds blowing against it. Finally, the ship came to a safe harbor, and Paul told the captain he didn't think it was a good idea to leave the harbor for a while. But the captain disagreed, and he sailed anyway. Soon a wind came up and blew hard on the ship. The sailors couldn't steer it. Paul knew they were in trouble. They might sink. He told the sailors to eat so they would be strong for the trouble ahead. Before long, the ship hit a sandbank and began to break into pieces. Everyone had to jump into the sea and swim for the beach. They all made it to shore safely. So how scary, yeah? How scary. Shipwreck. Where did they land? What happened next? Yeah, next. A poisonous snake. Acts chapter 28, 1 through 16. All the people from the shipwreck were now on the island of Malta, near the country of Greece. The people who lived on the island were very kind. They built a fire and invited the passengers to warm themselves. Paul helped by gathering wood for the fire, and as he did, a poisonous snake bit him on the hand. Paul just shook the snake off into the fire. He was not even hurt. The island people waited for him to fall down dead from the poison, but Paul was just fine. And why do you think Paul did not die when the poisonous snake bit him? Yeah, let's go. Now, new heaven. Yeah, the last scene. Yes, we just know this scene. You remember? Yeah, Revelation chapter 21. One of the biggest promises God ever made was that we will live with Him in heaven forever. Yes. He said that there would be a new heaven and a new earth, and we would get a new body on that one to get old, but we'll live forever. In the new heaven, no one will ever be sad again. No one will ever die again. Yeah, ever you catch cold, ever you get itch on your skin. Yeah, there are no pain, and there are no sadness, no need crying, no hungry, no thirsty. Yeah, the streets will be made of gold, and there will be gates of pearl. Everything will be more beautiful than anything you can imagine. And best of all, Jesus will be there. That's the so wonderful things with Jesus. We will be with Him forever and ever, with your family, with your all lovely friends, with your all church members, with your all your people and God's people. So, what is the most beautiful thing you have ever seen? Yeah, heaven will be 1,000 times more, thousand times more beautiful and marvelous place. So thank you, Almighty our God. I love you, and I love all of you have share with this story. Yeah, real, yeah, story. So I have still 1 minute left. So how I do is I already done every this Bible story, maybe almost 20 pieces, just 15 minutes Bible story. So let's go. Next time, if I have free time, I just divide all the story, each one for the infant and toddler and even new. It's really interesting as an old grandma, but it's really funny with you. Thank you. I love you. See you guys in our prayer, in everywhere, in every time. Thank you.